Hi everyone. Today we have Akanksha with us sharing about masters in food business and consumer studies. Right now she's in University of Kassel, and the best part is what you will learn is how to get from this field to Germany in the ways that she has done. Right now she's into Germany from past 6 months, and we would love to hear more from Akanksha. So welcome Akanksha here. I would
Thank
love to hear how you started, what's your background, and your bachelor's degree. So could you please walk us through?
Of course. Thank you so much, Pooja, for having me here. So, to everyone watching, hi, my name is Aakanksha, and I come from Kolkata. I have done my bachelor's in food science and nutrition management from Jadavpur University. And actually, the degree is from Jadavpur University, but my college was affiliated. So, actually, my institution is JD Birla. So, that's there.
So how was like being there in bachelor's? Did you have any thesis or any project work there which could help you to get into master's? Was there something like that with you? Because many students have a query, we don't have papers, we don't have projects work that we could show. So do you had a similar problem at that time?
I actually did. In fact, I was on the other end of the question not a long ago. So I did not have any published research. Uh, I I had a notion in my head that to get into Germany or technical universities, you need a researched a researched publication.
Yeah.
But in my case, I did not feel like it was very necessary. I did have a bachelor's project
Mm-hmm.
and a term paper, so
Okay.
that helped me. But yeah, I did not have any researched publication.
So while we apply, my most asked question is student ask me where should we apply? US, UK, Germany, your or wherever etc. places in Europe. How was your take on this, and why was this just Germany you applied to, or did you ever think about applying to US or UK if you did?
So for a very long time I wanted to apply to Canada.
I see.
I wanted to go there, I think, when I was in my first or second year of bachelor's, but that did not work out. And then I, I had some friends in Canada, and I just found out that my field over there currently did not have a lot of good opportunities. So I pivoted, I started working, and I took an industry experience of 2 years. And within that 2 year span, I was also doing a few things that would help me land a master's somewhere in Europe. Uh, the reason why I chose Germany, so yeah, to answer your question, I only applied in Germany, nowhere
I
else.
see. Hmm.
But the reason why I chose Germany is, of course, for the no tuition policy.
Yeah.
The all of the public universities here do not take any tuition fee from anyone. If you are under some scholarship, they are going to give you funds each month
Okay.
for the duration of your masters, depending on the kind of scholarship you have. Uh, and you also need to pay a semester fee, which is around 200 to 300 euros. That covers the travel that you do within Germany. So they give you something known as the Deutschland ticket, and that helps you cover the travel all around Germany. So that is the only fee essentially that you pay. Other than that, there is no tuition. So that is one of the biggest motivations why most of the people apply to Germany, other than, of course, the opportunities in research and tech that it provides.
I see. Before we move to the idea or the whole process of getting into masters, the one important question I want to ask you is about your industry experience. What was it, and did you think it actually helped you to get into a good university? Because in my opinion, people either have a research paper or they could have a good experience beforehand, right?
Mm. Yeah, of course. In my opinion, I think. I think the first thing that you need to think about is really your grades.
I see.
In Germany, when you apply in Germany, it's not as holistic of a process as maybe US or UK, where they also give a lot of weightage to your extracurriculars. Uh, to my experience, and again, take this with a grain of salt, it's limited to just my experience. I have noticed that if you have a certain level of grade, if you don't have a certain level of grades, your application does not even get opened.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to make sure that you are in that threshold first.
Okay.
Uh, in most of the public universities, the grade is 2.5 and above. So in Germany, we follow a grade system of 1 to 5, 1 being the highest and 5 being the lowest. So if
Mm.
your grade is above 2.5, then you have pretty much a chance of getting into a public university. So that is the first thing that you need to consider. Now, having a research paper or having job experience is, of course, a plus. For me, it helped because I think I was also involved in a lot of R&D during my internships and a little bit during my job as well.
Mhm.
So that was a question that the admissions officers did ask me during my interview. So I think maybe they were interested in that. But in my opinion, if you pass a certain threshold of grade, then
Mhm.
that is more valuable than any industry experience, for
I
sure.
see. So, what was the field you took experience in but the industrial experience?
So I mostly worked with nutrition startups and food
Okay.
tech startups. My role was of a nutrition counselor, and also
Hmm.
I was involved in some development work.
I
And
see.
in one of my internships, I also did I mentioned I also did a lot of R&D.
Mm-hmm.
So that was also a field I was involved in, but it was all nutrition related or food and nutrition related.
I see. So before we move forward, for the viewers, I would like to tell one thing. Uh, in Germany, your interview grades you on three parameters. One is either your grades, what you got in your bachelor's or master's. The second is that they could actually grade you on the university you come from. Mostly, if you come from IITs or NITs, it becomes helpful. And the third level is if you have a research paper or job experience. So
Mhm.
you could try to have all three or at least one or two of them. These are the parameters you actually help you to get into a university, either master's or PhD. Okay. So moving forward, the next thing I want to ask you is the process. Like, what's the right time to apply? How you applied, and did you also give IELTS or TOEFL or PTE, any other exams to get into this?
Yeah. So I would say an ideal timeline to start applying is around 11 to 12 months before the target intake.
Hmm.
So if you are planning to go in September 25, you should ideally start applying from August or September 24.
I see.
So I did give exams. I did give IELTS.
Okay.
So that was also pretty important because some of the universities had very distinctive requirements even for IELTS.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was
So,
there.
which where did you study IELTS from? I mean, because this is the most asked question from me. For the viewers, if anyone is applying for or trying to study for GRE or TOEFL, I would seriously recommend GradMat. But for IELTS, I don't know what were the resources you used.
I depended on a lot of free YouTube channels, to be
Okay,
honest.
I
Yeah,
see.
let me just pull up the list.
Yeah, till she pulls up the list, I would tell that, for example, for GregMat, for GRE, I remember I had to use this and I paid somewhere around $7 to $8. It's in a subscription model, so you just pay $7 to $8 a month. And it's so well organized. I guess so they have something for IELTS, but students should check for this one.
Yeah. Mm, just a second. Yeah. So there is a website called IELTSonlinetests.com. This
Okay.
gives you an exact replica of the entire exam. So from the format to the timing to everything is the exact replica.
Hmm.
So you should definitely take a lot of these mock tests. They are free. It's IELTSonline.com.
Okay.
And then I also took a package from Leap Scholar,
Hmm.
which had few questions. I think it had a few mm, like a few practice paragraphs and
Hmm.
some listening tests. It was only for 99 rupees, which is
Oh, that's nice.
less than a euro, I think, or maybe a euro, something like that.
Uh,
So yeah,
I mean, that's all in all, you would like to say that, I mean, free YouTube channels and a lot of practice actually helped you, right? Like,
yeah.
and then the leap studies is this for all the practice work you did,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
correct.
Okay,
And
I
of
see.
course, my biggest advice is do not leave out any question because I
Yeah.
left out a part of a question and I regret it till this day. So make sure even if you write whatever, even if you write two, three words, do it.
Hmm.
Do not leave anything blank. That
Yeah,
costs you.
that's for sure. That goes true for all the exams where you do not have negative marking, never leave questions.
Yeah.
Like that's the most important part to do. And practice before you go at any cost. Even if you feel I have not done the course, just practice. You will know the difference before and after for sure.
Yeah.
That's most
And
important
did
thing.
you also want me to say my IELTS score? I can
I mean,
see it
if
in.
you're comfortable, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. If you're
So
comfortable.
I got an 8 out of 9.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
And how
Again,
long did you study for?
honestly, 2 weeks is enough to,
That's
you know,
mm-hmm,
2 weeks is enough to cover.
mm-hmm.
Just a second.
Okay. But that's a commendable this timeline because 2 weeks is the sweet spot. I have seen students studying for a month, not scoring well, again for a month, not scoring well. So I mean, then you must have done something really right. Like I guess it should be about the practice questions because mostly what people don't do is study, 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 but they forget they have to practice.
Yeah, exactly. So it does not matter how long it takes you to cover something, if whether
Mhm.
it's 1 month, 1 year, 1 week, whatever you are
Mhm.
doing, you have to lock in and you really have to do it
Yeah.
properly. I think that's what matters.
So, while coming back to your master's, how did you start applying? Like, how did you shortlist universities? That's one part of it. And then we have the paperwork to finish. So, let's just start with how did you shortlisted universities? And did you apply for any scholarships?
Okay, so funny story here. I actually initially signed up with an agency. Okay,
Okay.
so everybody who is applying, please take this advice. Do not go with any agency. No agency is going to help you as much as you can help yourself, really. So I initially, I mean, they helped me shortlist a few universities, but it was really not what I was looking for. So what I did was I went to dart.de and I started typing keywords that were similar to my field. So for example, I came from a food and nutrition background, but I also started looking for global health management, international health policies, so anything that I did have the food technology, so anything I did have the required credits for. So that was the
Okay.
first thing. And the second thing was after I made a list of the target universities that I wanted, I went to LinkedIn, I searched every single person who's actually doing that course. And I spoke to
Hmm.
them about how the job market is, what was the application process, and how are the professors, how is the university, what are the facilities, how is the alumni connection. These questions are very important when you are shortlisting any university. So yeah, these were my main factors.
How many universities did you apply to? Do you still remember?
Yeah, I applied to 10. I got rejected from six of them because
Mm-hmm.
of lack of credits. And mostly, in Germany, you require a 4-year university degree
Mm-hmm.
or a 210 ECTS credit.
Mm-hmm.
Most Indian universities have 3-year undergrad degrees and
Yeah.
a 180 ECTS, which translates into a 180 ECTS, not a 210. So I did get rejected because of that criteria in 99% of them, but the rest four I got accepted to.
Oh, that's really nice. And what was the criteria for selecting the university? Like, was it more towards the alignment of what you wanted to do in future, or it was more related to budget and the coursework? So how was it?
For me, it was what I wanted to do in the future. I essentially wanted to pivot a little bit.
Hmm.
I did not want to stick to just science and research. I wanted a little bit of business, which is why I was looking at, management and policies and stuff like that as well. So that was one criteria. The second criteria is, again, like I mentioned, you have to go to LinkedIn and speak to the current students about how the university is, what is
Hmm.
the alumni connection. Also, sometimes you yourself have to, do a little bit of research on how much research, for example, if you're interested in research, how much research positions does the university actually have? What are the labs there? What are the professors in those labs that are what work are they doing? What field does that align with your field of interest? So
Hmm.
these are also very essential.
I see, I see. So, all in all, the whole process was you shortlisted universities, you looked around about the professors, you went to LinkedIn, talked with the alumni, talked with the people already there to get a holistic approach of how things are in the particular university, and that actually helped you to decide based on the environment, the people, and how well you can grow in any coursework, right?
Of
So,
course.
yeah. So once you got into your master's, I mean, before we go to master's, I would also like to ask you about your statement of purpose, resume. Did you use this Europass CV or did you make your own CV? That's one question. And how was your SOP and LORs? Like, do you have any suggestions regarding these paperwork or any additional paperwork you had to do? Because I once saw that for masters, you actually need to get it, I guess ATS or something,
Mm.
um, from the
APS.
government. APS, yeah, APS. So did you also do it? And should students do it 1 year prior, like because it's valid for the whole life, right? So should they do it, or how is your take on all of these things, like the whole paperwork part?
So, I'll tell you a list of all of the documents that are required before a person can start applying. First thing is your APS. You have to get that out first. When I was applying, the timeline for receiving APS was around a month and a half. The
Mhm.
batch before me, it was 6 months. So,
Can you
until
introduce to the students what APS is? Because mostly people don't know about this.
Yeah. So APS essentially it's a certificate from the government and the embassy of Germany,
Mhm.
stating that you fulfill all the criterias with your bachelor's degree. So to apply to a master's in Germany. So
Okay.
whatever, so your university.
Yeah.
So you have to first check if your degree is recognized by the ANABIN database. It has to be recognized as H plus. So
Hmm.
if your degree and your university is recognized as H plus, then you can apply for an APS. They will you When you apply for an APS, you have to basically give them all of your transcripts, mark sheets, degrees, everything. You have to send it by post
Okay.
and they will verify everything and then they'll give you a certificate that yes, your degree is valid for applying to Germany. That
And
is
they have to do it once they get an admit and the university assess this, or they have to be ready with this paperwork even before applying.
now it is mandatory to start doing it before you get an admit because all of these
Mhm.
universities are asking for the APS during your application process.
And I was actually looking into it and said that the timeline right now to get an APS is somewhere around 2 to 3 months, and the waiting list is quite long. So, students who are applying, please note that start paperwork early, like your
Yes.
exams and your other paperwork. Start getting all of these things together as soon as you can.
Yeah.
And next, if we move to SOPs, LORs, and the resume, I mean, first thing is resume. I would like to ask, like, did you use the Europass CV or did you make your own, which is more structured one,
Yeah,
a
I
different type?
use the Europass. I use the Europass format. In fact, for public universities, it is recommended to have a standard Europass format.
Okay, I see.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
any special comment do you have for all of these things, SOPs, LORs?
Yeah. So for LOR, when you are asking your university professor, you have to make sure that you ask somebody who has actually worked with you. So if the professor is giving a very general idea about you are a nice student, you paid attention to all of the classes, that's not saying much about you. If they write something about how your paper was, or for example, I had the term paper and the bachelor's project, so I asked professors who I worked with during those projects. So they were able to give uh, a very holistic idea about my approach to food and nutrition in general. So that's very important to ask the professors to request the professors to write specifics. And for SOP, I would say it's important that you research about the course beforehand. Even if you use AI, even if you use ChatGPT, you have to put in your own inputs and why you actually want to go into that university. So, what helped me really was I looked up a few professors who were working in the field of my interest in that university, and I wrote about them. And I think I also wrote a little bit about the courses, a few of the few of the courses that they actually had in the university that I was interested in taking.
Mhm.
So having those kind of specifics really shows that you have done your research. So that's very important.
So for LOR, normally what we do is we write our own LOR, send it
Mm-hmm.
to the professors. They take a look and they feel like, okay, that's all good. And then they submit it or they give it back to you, or tweaking a bit of the changes. Okay. So was it the same for you or the professor wrote it?
No, in my case, the university wrote for me.
Okay.
I did request them to input a few of the
Mm-hmm.
specifics that I said, but yeah, they wrote it themselves.
So for others watching, either this is the way or the other way is normally professor doesn't remember all of the things about you. So you write a rough LOR for them, okay, and then they'll take a look if whatever they want to keep or add and keep, remove, whatever tweaking they have to do. But that gives them a good structure to start with for an LOR. So you can ask your professor that can we provide an LOR so that you can build on it or remove certain things that you don't like, that will actually help you to iterate an LOR based on what you have done. This will make your academic input really strong. So that's one part of it. And then the next thing that I want to ask you is, so we talked about SOPs, we talked about LORs, and then your CV. Anything else that you had to submit? And then we talked about those degree certificates and
Yeah.
APS. So anything else that you had to do?
In some applications, for example, Technical University of Management, they even asked for a rank certificate.
Oh,
So, yeah. So, rank certificate essentially it's a rank percentile certificate. So, it has to show what percentile were you in. I think
okay.
for my course, it was like you have to be in the top 20 percentile for your
Okay,
application to be considered. So I think it's course specific, but maybe that could also be a requirement.
I see. For us, I remember there was provisional certificate that was required, which says that it's we are okay that the student becomes a part of your university. It's like a clearance from the previous university. So
Okay.
anyone who needs this, please take a look if you have to. So we are done with all the application process. How was it
So
moving
I'm
to? Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I also want to add, you have to submit all of your transcripts signed and stamped by your academic counselors, your grade cards, and your degree certificate. If you do not have your degree certificate yet, you can submit a provisional one. And if you have not completed your bachelor's yet, you can, I think, as long as you've completed 6 semesters or a certain number of credits, you can apply.
Okay, okay. And I remember while I was there for my PhD, we had to submit a translated version of our degrees, or it has to be stamped by the government in the embassy in Germany, and then we used to submit. Is it the same for you, or it was different? Like we had to
No.
do it, maybe because we didn't do APS because it wasn't required for a PhD. But for masters, there's nothing like that, right?
No, I did not need any document as such.
Okay, I see. So all of this was application process. Once you got the offer letter and you decided to move to Germany, how was that process? How was your visa process? Because you recently moved, like 6 months isn't a long time. So how was the visa process? Because there was a lot going on even in the last 6 months,
Yeah,
right?
for me, Touchwood, the visa process was very simple because I applied from the Kolkata VFS.
Okay.
Um, you essentially have to make an account in a CSP portal first, which is Counselor Service Portal, and you have to put in all of your documents there.
Mm-hmm.
One, I think it's one of the visa officers or somebody checks it and tells you whether it's okay or not, or if you need to change anything. And then once you get the clearance from that portal, you'll automatically be directed to book an appointment in the VFS center of your city.
Okay.
So it was very easy because I had the pre-clearance from the CSP. I knew that once I go in, all of my documents are already ready to be submitted.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty good. And I got my visa in 4 days from the date of submission.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, but I know that in other VFS centers like Delhi and Mumbai, the wait time was pretty long, very long.
Okay.
So
Okay.
depends on the center you go to, I guess.
I guess the longest wait time is in Delhi. It's very
Yeah.
difficult to get the what to say appointment. That was the most difficult part. Even in my case, I actually had to email them that I need it urgently, and I asked German embassy to ask them. I asked my assistant in Germany, my professor's assistant, to ask German embassy to give me an appointment that could be sooner, right? So that
Oh,
was a hell of this ups and downs because also it was like around the time of COVID. It was the beginning. It was 2020, so it was completely different. But
yeah.
once I got an appointment, I think I got my passport stamped like in 7 days. So
Mm.
that's completely okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how was it moving to Germany? Like, let's move to this whole exciting part of going to Germany, moving out alone, right? Like, it's a very different feeling to
It
start your
is.
own life separately, have your own home,
It
finding out
is.
things, and then just, I mean, did you find home before you go? Were you in a student housing? How was it?
Yeah. So I did look up a few apartments and then I got a sublet,
Okay.
I think 2 months before moving.
So did you use Kleinanzeigen or Facebook? Or how was it?
Luckily, one of my seniors subletted to me,
Mm-hmm.
so it was no problem. And I want to put in a few tips before you finalize an apartment in Germany. You have to make sure that they give you city registration and they do not pay up anything upfront until unless you go and see the apartment. Because
Yeah.
a lot of scams, I know a lot of people have been scammed before, so you have to be very careful about that. For me, luckily, one of my seniors were going for an internship. She had a room empty for 4 months, so she just subletted it to me, and I thought it's better to take that so I can figure out whether I want a student housing or an independent housing after I move there. So I took
Okay.
that, and after that got over, I ended up moving into a private dorm.
Mm-hmm.
So in my dorm, I have my own. In a corner of the room, I have my own kitchen and then my own room. So it's pretty good. But yeah, I mean, if you apply beforehand and if you can get a student housing through the university, that's even better.
Okay. So for people watching, my suggestion is one part what she said, and another way is you can look for international guest houses. Even if you know you want to move at a certain dorm or a certain housing, still go for international housing or Airbnb or any sublet for which is for a shorter time period. Once you are there for 10-20 days, you go take a look at the housing that you want to finalize and then sign the contract papers so that you always have an option because sometimes it's not up to the mark, it's noisy, or you might not like the place, or it's too dark. I mean, you might not like certain things, you might not like the people residing in there if you are having a shared room in an apartment. So these are important things that you should take a look at. Of course, Facebook Marketplace is good. I remember
Yeah.
Kleinanzeigen, Vertigrund. I remember mine was
There's Immo
Vertigrund.
Scout.
So
Then some
yeah,
of the bigger cities have Amber.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
these places are good websites to look at. But again, if you can look at it yourself, or maybe if you can request a senior, then that's better.
that's best. Yeah, that's best. I was in international guest house and I actually booked it for a month, which and it was a very substantial rate, like 360 euros, which is somewhere around 1 month's base rent of any apartment that you will take. They give you all the facilities. And then I went around, took a look at the apartments, and I chose which was nearest for me to the market and to my office, and I didn't had to move around a lot. So I actually chose some a comfort, right? But I could only choose that once I'm there. I don't know how long things take, right? So for students watching, these are things that you should take in keep in mind. If you get a student housing, that's best. That's best thing that you can have.
Yeah, and that's good
Yeah.
advice. I wish I knew that.
Yeah. So, once you were there and you started setting up, was there anything that you feel that you should have done, or how was your like about the money part? That's the most important thing people are worried about. So, how much money should they carry? That's first thing about the blocked bank accounts, this paperwork, and did you also think or are doing any part-time job?
Okay, so I carried around 500 euros in a Forex card and
Mm-hmm.
500 euros in cash when I came here. It's very important that you also have some cash for at least the first 2, 3 weeks that you come here. And after that, it's very important to start setting up your blocked account as soon
Mm-hmm.
as you come. So I think I missed it, but you also need to have a blocked account before actually going to Germany.
I
And
thought it was mandatory for the visa process, a blocked
yeah,
bank account on those paperwork. So what did you show? I mean, for the money part, because that's something that you have to show that you have certain amount kept in to support you for all those 12 months or 24 months. Like I guess it's for
yeah.
12 months that you have to show.
So for visa, you do require that. You need to show
Hmm.
12 months of blocked account, which is around 12,000 euros.
Yeah.
And that has to be fixed, and that can be accessed after you come to Germany and physically open a bank account. So make sure you do that within the first 2, 3 days of coming here.
So you don't have to do it. I mean, you're saying that the bank account has to be open in first 2-3 days once you are here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the blocked account part has was done already before you applied for the visa.
Exactly. So the blocked
Okay.
account and the money in the blocked account, which is 12,000 euros, has to be there before you can apply for a visa.
Mm-hmm.
After you get the visa, after you fly to Germany and land, you get access to the blocked account per month.
Mm-hmm.
Per month, you get 992 euros. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot withdraw more, you don't get less. That is the amount that you get for your everyday expenses. And that can only be accessed through a third party, through a third bank account. So a blocked account is different and a bank account is different. So once you
Mm-hmm.
land in Germany, you have to open a bank account.
So which blocked account services, which bank did you use for the blocked bank account?
For the blocked account, I used Expatrio, and for my bank account, I did Commerce Bank.
For anyone watching, you have Commerce Bank and you have Sparkasse also, which is very famous. I was on Sparkasse, and what I felt was their fees is too high. Like my friends who was on Commerce Bank, they are not paying anything like on savings account, but I used to pay like 3-4 euros okay,
Yeah,
each month. So it's very important that you don't make a mistake of choosing a bank account where you have to pay monthly
yeah.
because
So
that
if you
adds up.
are, yeah, if you are a student under 27, you don't pay monthly fees in many bank accounts. So make sure
Yeah.
you do your research.
Yeah, yeah, definitely you should do this because yeah, I did it. So I don't want anyone else to do that. My recommendation to anyone who will earn from your part-time job is you have a current bank account and you have a savings account. That's for you also. So you have a savings account and you have a current bank account. So all the bank accounts that you open is current one. Ask your bank to open a savings bank account, which is like it's a free thing added to your current account. Okay?
Okay.
But you cannot directly access it through your credit card or debit card. Okay.
Okay.
So if you are earning in internships, any other part-time jobs, put that money in your savings account. Okay. So that you remember, I do not have to use this money for my leisure. I will only put a certain amount in my current account that I only spend this much money for my month. I should not exceed it. And even if I exceed it, when you need to draw like $100 or €100 from your savings account, you will always have this memory that, oh, I took $100 extra, €100 extra. That's how you start saving because it's so easy to spend in Europe because then you are earning and you feel like, oh, I am the queen or I'm the king. Let's spend something. Let's spend a
Oh
little
my
more
God.
extra.
Yes.
But that's very
Yeah.
important.
It is, it is. I
Yeah.
mean, also to answer your question, I am not doing any internship or part-time currently. I did
Hmm.
apply to a few before my term started, and it was
Hmm.
pretty easy to get an offer then.
Okay.
But I did not end up doing it then because I ended up pursuing some personal hobbies and then I ended up traveling a lot, which I mean now I regret a little bit.
For
Because
people like her or me who loves to travel, please have a current and savings account. You will know how to manage expenses. That's so important.
yes, do that, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that I am applying for internships, I think the market is a little bit more competitive during the summer than in the winter session.
Do you need German for all of these things? And how far you are in your German coursework?
I am doing my A2. I
Okay.
already have my A1, but yeah, a German, they do require German. As much as people say you can get an English job, it's very rare. You do require
Yeah.
German.
Yes, yes. I mean, especially in the smaller cities, you definitely require German. Like if you go to Frankfurt, Munich, it's still better. But I
Mm-hmm.
was in Dresden, you require German.
You
At
do.
any cost, you require German, right? So, once you are settled there, how was your coursework? Like, how is it going on? It's been 6 months. How intensive it is, and what the professors expect from you.
Mm. So the professors here are, the education system is very different from India. You're totally
Hmm.
on your own. They do not take, I mean, they do not have to take any responsibility of you to finish your work or to turn in your papers or, to basically to do anything to know what is the combination of credits you would require. They do not, I mean, they do
They
not
are clueless.
help you so
Basically, they
much.
are clueless with these things, and they
Yeah,
do not
I mean, it's
also
not
want
their
to do this.
responsibility. It's not their
Exactly.
responsibility. It's our responsibility. So
Hmm.
initially, I struggled a lot understanding how does Moodle work and how does, what is the combination of credits I have to take? How do I
Hmm.
register for a course?
Hmm.
These things were very hectic for me, but yeah, I did figure it out. The coursework, I would say, I mean, you can do around 30 credits in one semester. I wouldn't recommend more than that. The coursework gets pretty hectic beyond
Hmm.
that, and you can start applying for internships after you, in most universities, after you finish 30 or 40 credits or so, you can start applying for internships, and you can also start applying for a thesis after you complete around 80 credits.
Okay, so now you have taken like 30 credit points, these in your first semester. Did you finish all of them? And now are you applying for internships?
So yeah, I have finished all of them. I mean, I just gave my exam 3 days ago, really, my last
Okay.
exam.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Sorry for that.
that's okay, that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so I did end up finishing everything, and
Hmm.
now I am applying to internships. I mean, from the date of applying to actually landing one, it is going to take you a good 2, 3 months. So
Okay.
the job market is brutal. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for painting the picture. It is a little brutal. So
Hmm.
you have to
So
be
do
prepared.
you recommend that once we land there and in 2, 3 months we are settled, we also start looking for internships? Because once these 6 months get over, we finish our credit points, anyways, we could start an internship,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
is it recommended if someone who gets settled really fast could have a good point of view if they start looking for internships after 3 months, just to have a like upper hand?
Yes, I would really recommend so. In fact, I would also say to start applying for part-time jobs even before you land here, really.
Okay.
So from India, in the last 1, 2 weeks of you in India, start applying for part-time, start looking for contracts, and then once you
Mhm.
land here, once you start your once you get your basically matriculation certificate, and once you start the courses, start making industry connections and start applying for internships, really.
I see, I see. I would say to all the viewers, students who have a psychological barrier, oh, we got into a university and now we should stay with our family as long as we could, not doing all of these things, okay, of trying to avoid this. And then once they reach Germany for first 2, 3 months, also they're avoiding these responsibilities, which is not good right now. It's the reason is everything is quite brutal. It's very difficult to get the jobs, part-time jobs also, and it's difficult to survive if you don't get all of these things.
Yeah.
You have stayed with your family for so many years. The last 2 weeks are crucial before you go to Germany, even for all the preparation part. Once you land there, I guess take a month to get settled in, but then get back into the race because once you have an internship, the life is a lot better. Like the
Not better.
mental peace is a lot better. Even if you're working day and night, you still have the mental peace of not feeling broke and not feeling that you do not have enough money. Keep your weekends for leisure. Like for the weekdays, work brutally.
Of
Because
course.
my friends who grinded so well, like in their masters, now they're living such a great life. Now they are like going out for walks because in the masters they had so many internships and then they got permanent position in the same industry or the same company, and now their life is completely changed. Because once you get a permanent job in Germany, your life changes. So
Yeah,
take
totally.
these 2 years for like complete grinding. For master student, my advice is even though you can extend your masters to 3 years to 4 years in Germany, you can do that. Don't do it. Try to finish it within 2 years. Get a permanent job. That's my
Exactly.
biggest advice for anyone applying.
I think getting into the university is
Mhm.
basically the least hard part of the entire
Exactly.
Germany process. Your real struggle starts after that.
Exactly, exactly. So, do you have any more insights to share on of all of this journey until now for your 6 months?
Mm,
Anything that you would like to share for the viewers? Like any, or maybe a conclusive statement for any of them who are
mm.
applying or in there in the process.
Learn German. I cannot stress this enough. Do your at least your A2 before you come here. It makes your life 100 times easier, really. Even if you go to grocery stores and you cannot speak German, you end up getting a dishwasher soap instead of a detergent. So
I
I've
agree.
been there, done that. So don't take it lightly. Do your A2 and come here, really.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
people who are applying, it's not very difficult. It's just you have to be strategic. You have to start early. And even if you get a university, don't be laid back. Be upfront in all of your skills. Germany actually like gives you very well if you have good skill set. That's the most important part that you can do, and German. These are two important things that you can do,
Yeah.
right?
Pooja, I just want to
Yeah.
say, like, I'll just add a list of the entire process of applying. I did not finish
Okay.
that. Okay, so maybe you can put
Okay.
that in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, sure, sure.
So the first step is to apply for your APS. After you've done that, you have to start looking for the courses that you want to do. You have to maintain I would recommend maintaining an Excel sheet and
Hmm.
writing down all of the courses, their deadlines, their requirements, everything over there. And simultaneously, you have to give your IELTS. So try to give your IELTS before your APS comes so that you have everything in place. So now once that is done, you have your Excel sheet ready. Start applying for universities. Some of these universities require something called a VPD. So now VPD is essentially another screening process. You apply for it through something called Uni Assist. So what UniAssist does is UniAssist either checks if you have the required credentials to apply for this course and gives you a certificate saying that you do, or else they will actually apply on your behalf to the university. So that again takes around 4 to 5 weeks. So make sure you do not wait until the deadline. You're actually applying beforehand. So once you apply for the university, wait for the results. And once you get the results, you have to to apply for the visa, you have to open a blocked account and get health insurance.
Hmm.
So again, these two things are there, and then you get the visa, and then you can come here.
Perfect, perfect. So I will add the whole list, the detailed one, what you have mentioned. Once she provides it, it will be a link below in the Drive link. And if you have any other questions, just contact us. We are there every time to help you guys. And thanking for you all for listening to us. And thank you, Akanksha, for being with me for the podcast today.
Thank you, Pooja.
Welcome. Bye.